We're speaking with Adam Jensen, who is a candidate for School District 73, School Board Trustee candidate. Adam, are there any social justice causes you're involved in or at least interested in?
I've worked on many campaigns in the past. The rollback of GST and the MSP rates. I've been very active within federal campaigns, provincial campaigns, municipal campaigns in the past. I believe that any type of buying into an electoral system is the way we purchase our lotto tickets so that we can complain about any results in the future. If we're not doing that, we're not active in the civic process, we're not engaged in those types of ideas, then we lose those types of interests within our communities, and we really need to have those aspects within our communities to build them up. And it all starts with the kids when we're running for school trustee. If we can build those initiatives into the school system and inform kids and educate them, I think can make a population of the future that's better informed, better educated, and more supportive of us when we get older.
Great. What do you feel is the school board's role in addressing the big differences in socioeconomic status between kids living in the most affluent neighborhoods and those living in the poorest neighborhoods?
I think this is a very interesting question, especially in this district, because we have such a wide range. There was a comment tonight that we're the district the size of Belgium, which is significant country, right? So if we're going to talk about making sure that those less fortunate groups are supported, we need to talk about those rural districts and the kids that are in those less what do we call specialized schools, because every school should have everything, not just specialized schools. And if we're going to look at the creative aspects like arts and culture and trades and technologies, we need to make those available to everyone so that everybody has those opportunities, not just the people that are in those affluent areas.
What do you think needs to change in our school district?
Yes, that question comes up quite a bit. I think one of the most important things that needs to change is the communication aspect. I think we need to come together as a community. We need to work with all levels of government. We need to work with those provincial delegates, with the education ministry, with the financial, with the Minister of Finance, and so that we can get that funding within the district. It's not fair that Vancouver gets a majority. We're just as important as a lot of other school districts, and we need to fight for those. So that's the role of a school trustee, is advocating for those resources within their district, but also being a trustee of things like a steward, as well as a trustee for budget and understanding restraints within those, so that we can try and support our kids fiscally responsibly, but in the best way possible.
There are many school-aged children living below the poverty line in Kamloops and across Canada. What role, if any, do you feel a school trustee should play in advocating for economic justice for these kids?
Again, working with the community, because I've heard of programs such as the Backpack program that supports lunches and foods for children, and I think a child with a full stomach has a better opportunity to learn within their community, to support their community, so they can grow up to be those active individuals in the future. Without those most simple things like foods in their bellies, they won't be able to concentrate within those classrooms. They'll be more disruptive, and they're going to take more resources. They're going to take more energies from the teachers, the support staff, and the administration staff. So if we can start simple and get them what they need at the beginning of the day, I think we set them up for success later in the day.
Some folks see public education as a form of advanced babysitting. Others see it as a way to produce obedient workers for the labor pool. And others see it as a way to ensure kids become good citizens of their community. What do you feel is the role of public education in our society?
Well, I definitely think all three are important for kids. I've already mentioned that the community aspect is very important, and I do believe that educated kids in the community become leaders of their community in the future. The other aspects, sorry, can you repeat the first two?
Well, advanced babysitting,
right? Obedient
workers,
okay, so
and good citizens.
The first one, why I may have forgotten, was the derogatory aspect of advanced babysitting. I used to be a lifeguard myself, and it's referred to as that, but I think it's much more. When you actually make those connections with the kids, you do instill life lessons, and you encourage them later on. I'm shocked to see how many kids that I taught as a lifeguard now as lifeguards. It definitely makes me feel old, like we're all aging. So there's that aspect. And the second one was?
obedient workers for the labor pool.
Yes, and that does come out of the industrial age, the obedient worker aspect. And I really do hope that the school system's starting to change slightly in that regard so that we can encourage kids to more open-ended learning so that they can get messy and make mistakes, get their hands dirty, work with the tools, but also learn the skills that set them up for success, not just in the workforce, but in life, because there's so much stresses within our lives these days that having an outlet like painting or a musical instrument is something that can de-stress you in the future. It's a transferable skill, and I think it's important.
School support staff and teachers have had wage increases over most of the last 20 years that have not kept up with inflation. These workers are also in the middle of negotiating collective agreements, a big part of which will be wages. Do you support providing better than inflation wage increases so that we can recruit the most talented staff from across the country? Or are you satisfied with subpar wage increases, which will prolong the current difficulties in acquiring an adequate number of staff?
So no, I would support supporting our teachers and their wages, because I believe that gives them the tools and the energy to really support our children. If we can provide resources for the support staff, for the teachers, for the administration, within budgetary restraints, we can really support our kids, and that's what it should come down to. All of those resources going back into the education of the students. I think we need to work with the provincial government. As I said earlier, we need to work with the finance minister so that we can get funds allocated so that the trustees can have their opinion at the table when we go into negotiations, so we can look at those specific requirements for the districts that not necessarily are coming out within the conglomerized bargaining system that we have today.